So this video is especially for couples, and I want to share something with daddies. Men, your wife, if she is a homemaker, she's not just a homemaker. Her actual title is CEO of whatever your family's name is. So if I were a homemaker, my title would be CEO of the DeLopo family, because if my job is to keep a home, I'm keeping the house clean, I'm making sure the kids get to school on time, I'm making sure I pick them up on time, I'm making sure breakfast, lunch, and dinner are provided. I'm making sure that I'm cooking, not every meal, but maybe every meal, because a lot of your spouses are providing morning, lunch, and dinner, morning, lunch, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner meals. And she may be the one scheduling the vacations. She may be the one scheduling your doctor's appointments. She may be the one making sure everything is managed. She's basically managing the house. She does not get an annual or a biannual review. She's probably not getting paid. Highly unlikely she's getting paid, and highly unlikely that she ever gets a raise. She probably doesn't give herself 15-minute breaks because she's on the go, go, go. When I hear from my patients, and this is my 27th year in practice, so easily 4,000 women. Easily 4,000 women, if not 5,000 or more, since 2007. And there were at least maybe 500 patients, if not 1 to 2,000, from 99 to 2006. So let's say I've had a minimum of 6,000 patients since 2000, women since 1999. But I think it's more than that. And then also as a massage therapist, because while I was in Chinese medical school, I studied massage. So I've also been a licensed massage therapist since 1996. And just in the last 3 weeks, I have heard a common theme, but this is not a new thing. It's something that I've been hearing since 1996. And it's women who are homemakers feeling unappreciated. Now, I've gotten messages, DMs, I've gotten, people, men telling me up front, how cool it is that I can work, run a business, and, take care of the kids. And you need to understand something that comes at a cost. If you think I'm making breakfast when I'm the first one up, last one down, but then I'm also running a business and doing the marketing and making sure that everything, the people who work with me, everything's being delegated and paid on time, that I'm making breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and keeping a house clean and doing all the, the heavy lifting to make sure everything's smooth and making sure dinner's served on an appropriate hour. It's not. And it's about time you understand the truth of what these women are going through, because when you're paying for your wife to come in because she's so stressed out, many of you men are the cause of that. Now, this also goes the other way around. If women are the working bees and the men are the homemakers, women, you need to acknowledge that your husband is the CEO. He's not just a homemaker. Why am I bringing this up after all these years in practice? Because just in the last week, I've had at least 3 different conversations with women who feel hurt. And whether you agree with it or not, when a person feels hurt, when men come in and they feel hurt, I listen to them, because whatever we're feeling, those feelings need to be validated. Those are your triggers, and we work through it. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, but they are coming to me, and my job is to help them feel better with acupuncture and maybe Chinese herbs. And if I have a massage therapist, a neuromuscular sports therapist, we utilize our medical modalities. But these women who came in, say for example, one woman, she's married to a salesman. I get it. I eat what I kill. If I don't have patients, I'm in the service industry. If people don't come in and I don't charge them for that service, I don't eat. So putting aside whatever investments, when it comes to my actual bread and butter, I provide a service, you pay me, that's the transaction. She came in because she said, we'll call her husband D, D told another woman who's working, well, at least you work. And I said, your husband is in sales. Instead of telling him your schedule and bitching and whining and sharing your defensiveness and, I do this, I'm going to have you do something that's far more effective. I wrote down her schedule. So I drop off kids, okay? I drop off kids and they get dropped off by 8:30. Typically, I'm out of the parking lot around 8:45-ish. So I used to try to be at work by 9:30, 9:40, and that would just stress me out because there might be a parent I might talk to, the teacher I might talk to, I might go to the front desk, and I don't like to feel like I'm in a rush. So the ideal time for me to start work is 10 a.m. And something I do to protect my oxytocin, which means to keep my cortisol low and not feel stressed out, is to actually start at 10. For me, it's more ideal to start the new patient at 10:30 and any follow-up patients at 10. So if anything's running, left, going sideways, I'm not stressing out about a new patient. It's a follow-up patient who may be a little forgiving if something happens and I gotta, for God forbid, show up a minute to 5 minutes late. So I do things to make sure I'm cool, I'm relaxed, I get to work by 10 a.m. and I'm happy. So if you have a woman, your wife, and you want her to cook, clean, have all the meals ready to go, and you have one or more children and they got to look clean, they have to be fed, they have to, you want everything running smoothly, and you also want her working, well, let me tell you, she can't start work until 10, okay? And then she has to be out of work by 2, not 2:30, because there's a line for your child to be picked up by 3. And if she has more than one child, and probably they're in different schools, then that's even more work. So she's got to be out by 2. So she has to work 10 to 2. So if she's not doing an MLM, multi-marketing job at home, but she's going to work like in front of a Pets Plus, or she's working at Trader Joe's, or she wants to get a job at Costco, which, by the way, my mom has 2 accounting degrees. She worked as an accountant for many, many years. But the last 14 years of her career was working, doing regular work at Costco. Great benefits, and she was able to have her sewing company on the side. So she was able to, my dad wanted my mom home, so instead of renting space, and doing her work, which he did for many, many years, he still wanted my mom to be at home and cook and clean. So she gave up her lease, moved all her big $20,000 sewing machines, because we weren't talking about clothing. She was sewing things like furniture, wetsuits, stuff like that. So even my dad had I want you home cooking and cleaning. So if you want your wife to have a 10 to 2 job, keep in mind that's 11, 12, 1, 2. Those are ideal hours. It's really hard. I used to work in, I worked in the alcohol industry. I sold clothes. I was a food server, in-store trainer, and a cocktail waitress and a hostess for a good 8 years of my life. You can't just walk into a store, hey Trader Joe's, hey Pavilions, hey Albertsons, I want to only work 10 to 2. Those are ideal hours. People who've been working there for a while, Starbucks, all these, big corporate companies, it's hard to get a job just from 10 to 2. And then, so morning, she's working, she's taking care of your kids, then she's going to work, and then she's going to pick up, and then you're going to want her to, cook and clean. And what about all the other stuff that she normally would do from 10 to 2? I presented this information to my patients who are homemakers and who are working, and they're like, that is ridiculous. That woman is a CEO. Those of us who are not full-time homemakers know how hard it is. So one of my patients, we'll call her S. She is fortunate to have a husband who's also, we'll call him S. So S and S, he understands, and he's high up there in the corporate world, that she's taking care of their 3 sons, and her job is to take care of everything. She is not just a homemaker. He understands that she runs the roost. She is the queen bee of that home. She is taking care of the home. And he's not making any snide remarks like, oh, well, if only you were working, because that would diminish how she feels as the main manager, the CEO of the company at home. You need to understand that. She's making sure your kids are fed. She's making sure the house is clean. And maybe the house isn't always clean, but because the kids are messy. They're messy. They got stuff going on. And the last thing they want to do all the time is to clean. And it's tiring. And she's also making sure that they're getting their homework done, that she's getting them to their activities. It is work. So S, the wife, has a friend. And he had the same issue. He had the same well, I could do your job. He said, all right, so they switched roles. Not even 10 days. He's like, I can't do this. Not even 2 weeks, 10 days he did this. He's like, I can't do this. My husband knows how hard it is. It's hard work. One time I had to explain to him, I think you need to understand that I do what every L.C. housewife does, and I run a business. And we're talking a brick and mortar business. I'm not doing it from home. And even when she's doing things from home, it's hard work. You talk to anyone who worked from home and also taking care of kids, that's hard. That's why when you have a home-based childcare, and Orange County or whatever respective county you live in, they can make, just pop-in visits just to make sure those kids are not being abused. And you want that. So guess what? When your child needs to be picked up by 6 p.m. and they charge however much money, $5, $10 for every 15 minutes you're late, of course that home daycare, the child daycare is going to charge more because they've been taking care of kids since maybe 6, 7 a.m. They probably need a drink because they've been listening to kids crying all day long. It is hard work. As someone who helps with coaching jiu-jitsu, as someone who's, who sees people who teach violin, teach dance, coach soccer, dealing with kids is hard work. And you please need to understand that making sure that breakfast is served, lunch is served, dinner is served, everyone's emotions are calm. And she's putting out fires all day long that you can't see. So my patient, the one who felt like, her husband's telling another woman, well, at least you work, undermining what she does for a living. So I said, no, you don't complain. You show him what you do. And you show a schedule of what you do. And, what is in that. Don't just tell him. You need to show him, like on a spreadsheet. And then tell him, if I take out this time, this chunk of time, those 4 hours, 10 to 2, if I'm lucky to get a job, when am I going to do the other stuff? And if you say to her, well, you're only exercising for an hour there, guess what? She needs to exercise because it is hard work dealing with kids. It's hard work. So when I've worked out 10 years at Renaissance and also at Lifetime, and you think these women are just in their Lululemon stuff and they need that to exercise so that they can not go postal, raising your kids, waiting in line, and you're like, it's just waiting in line for school. You try doing it. Try doing it 100 days straight. Try doing it. I want to see you do her job 100 straight days, and she does not have to put a smile on her face. And many of those women do. And there are men who are homemakers, and they are also CEOs. I had a woman who came here to my practice, and they moved location from LA to San Diego, or from LA to Orange County, which is where I'm at. And the husband is a homemaker, and she understands his job, and he understands his job. He's also a producer, music producer. But he has much more freedom. And so he's the one who makes sure that she's fed, that she's calm, So that's what this video is about. Gentlemen, in Orange County, there's a 72% divorce rate. And I truly believe a lot of it has to do with the fact that women feel unappreciated, because that's why you're paying my fee for her to stay calm. And when they're crying in my office, I feel their pain. I couldn't do it. I have a 21, a 15, and 8-year-old. And during COVID, I asked them, do you want me to stay home and take care of you guys, or do you want me to stay working? And they said, we'd love for you to keep working, because they know I have intense energy and that has to go somewhere. Those women who are with you, your wives, who are taking care of you, making sure your clothes are ironed, making sure you have clean underwear, making sure the clothes are folded and being put away, you're not seeing all those things. You're not seeing what she's doing day in and day out to make sure your life runs smoothly. So please consider that. Your life is being run smoothly because of your CEO of your company. And no matter who is paying you anywhere between 200,000 to 200 million, maybe even 2 billion, if you don't acknowledge that woman who's running everything smoothly, she's going to have resentment. And I can talk about that. That's another video. I've done videos on resentment. And the other way around. Respect goes both ways. She respects you because you're the president of your company. Respect her because she's a president of your company and the most important company. And let me tell you something. Not too long ago, I was there witnessing the spreading of the ashes of a 21-year-old, the daughter of a patient. And let me tell you, if a coworker dies, that's sad. But you don't live with that coworker. If something in your family happens and your wife is taken from you or one of your kids is, God forbid, taken from you, that's your main company, your title doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When something tragic like that happens, you think CEO, CIO, CTO, you think middle management, whatever your title is, you think that matters? I've had my own business. I've been without a W-2 since January 24, 2007. If something tragic happens in my family, which something did a couple of years ago, none of my Yelp reviews mattered. Nothing at work mattered. Healing people, none of that mattered. What mattered was what's going on in my home front. So, please, I told my patients that I would make this video, and they wanted me to make this video because it's hurtful for you to undermine her job. I'm going to tell you right now, if I had that opportunity to be a homemaker, I have 3 kids. I tell my 2 daughters, you can be a homemaker, but make sure it's with someone who understands how hard this job is. This is a hard job, driving kids around, making sure they're fed, making sure they're showered, making sure their teeth are straight, making sure they're going to the dentist, making sure they're taking their medications, vitamins, supplements, or whatever, going to the chiropractor, going to the acupuncturist, going to the medical doctor, making sure if they break their arm that they're going to the doctor's office right away, getting surgery, getting PT, all that. You think that just naturally happens? That these appointments just naturally happen? I have the opportunity to book a trip to Hawaii, but for a very sad occasion. And I gotta make a vacation for 5. And I haven't sat down yet to just sit down and look at the rates online because I'm doing so many things. That's what your wife is doing. Imagine having a business on top of that. Then things get cut out. So I hope this helps. This goes the other way around too, ladies. If your man is a homemaker, stop calling them homemakers. They are CEO. And tell this, I told this to my patient. When it's parent career day, I tell them, you better bring your mom if she's a homemaker. And you better say what you do for a living. Because if I were a homemaker, my job would be waking up early, making sure everyone gets up, gets fed, eyes are clean, food is made, food is prepared, they get on time. We're talking about making sure everyone's early to school, 10, 15 minutes early. Food is on the table. They got their lunches packed. They get to soccer practice. They get to whatever classes they need to go to, sewing class, music class, singing lessons, baseball, whatever. That I did snacks today. For the basketball team, that she's doing that. It's hard work. That is all day long, no breaks. All day long, no breaks. No annual review, no biannual review, no committee telling me that I'm doing an awesome job, and no raises. So, hope this helps.